Yes, welcome back. So, today the chapter that we are taking is from 7th class, chapter 1, A Hero, that is written by R.K.Narayan. A Hero. Now, read about Swami's fear and nightmares. So, this story is all about our main protagonist character, Swami, and it's all about his fears and nightmares that he come across. For Swami, events took an unexpected turn. Father looked over the newspaper. He was reading under the hall lamp and said, Swami, listen to this. News is to hand of bravery of a village lad who, while returning home by the jungle path, came face to face with a tiger. So this is the first scene where you can find Swami and his father in the hall, and his father, Swami's father, you can see in the picture also that lamp is there, and he is reading a newspaper, and he is drawing the attention of Swami by saying that Swami, listen to this. News is to hand of the bravery of village lad who, while returning home by the jungle path, came face to face with a tiger. And he was Swami's father was telling Swami about a article that was published, and it was all about a small boy. Lad means a boy while who was returning home by the jungle path, and he came and he encountered a tiger over there. Encountered means came face to face. The paragraph described the fight the boy had with the tiger and his flight up a tree where he stayed for a half a day till some people came that way and saved him. So that paragraph was all about that boy, how he fought with that tiger. After reading it through, father looked at Swami fixedly and asked, "What do you say to that?" So after reading it thoroughly, father looked at Swami and he just asked about his opinion. What do you say to that? Now he was asking that, what is your point of view? Swami said, I think he must have been a very strong and grown up person, not at all a boy. How could a boy fight a tiger? And Swami was of this point of view that definitely that um, boy whose article is there, he might be a very grown up person, because how a boy can fight with a tiger? Next, you think you are wiser than the newspaper? Father sneered. Now, father was saying that, do you think that you are wiser than the newspaper? Meaning of wiser is clever or enlightened. So his father was making comment on him. That father sneered. It means that making comment or just looking at someone with mocking way. Okay. So you think you are wiser than the newspaper? A man may have the strength of an elephant. So here he is saying that a man may have the strength of an elephant. He may be powerful as an elephant, but he can be coward at the same time. Whereas another may have the strength of a straw. Straw means a very uh, light object. But if he has the courage, he can do anything. So what is important? That power is not important. The strength is not important. Courage is the thing that is most important. In next line, you will be finding that courage is everything. Strength and age are not important. So this was the comment that his father made. Now let me show you the picture. Here it means that here you can find that here in this picture a man is just mocking at someone, just like a sneer. Okay, so just he is just making a comment. So this is called as sneering. Next is the picture of that what is the opposite of sneer. So here we can see that here the pigeon in black graduation cap, you can find that it means that opposite. Okay, here you have to just keep in your mind that it is antonym. So it means that compliment, praised, admired, applaud, approved, commend, flattered, respected, weakened. So what is the opposite of respected? It means disrespectful. So it is us looking at someone with disrespectful, in in the manner of disrespect. So here is the picture of straw. You know that this is a very light object. So whereas elephant, you all know that it's a very powerful animal. So this both are compared. So now once again I'm just reading so that this line will be clear to you. A man may have the strength of an elephant and yet be a coward. Okay, by being a powerful also one can be coward. whereas another may have the strength of a straw that we have already seen here, that this is the straw. But if he has the courage, he can do anything, and anything is possible if there is a courage. Courage is everything, strength and age are not important. Next line, Swami disputed the theory. Disputed means question whether something is true or valid, or we can say that debate. So debated about that theory. How can it be, father? Suppose I have all the courage, what can I do if a tiger should attack me? So Swami is asking this question. So what is the importance of courage? What is the importance of courage and power? If all these things I possess, what happens if a tiger attacks me? So his father again, he was replying that leave alone strength. Can you prove you have the courage? So his father was of view that okay, let's not talk about the power and the strength. Let's talk about the courage. Let me see that do you have courage. So let me see if you can sleep alone tonight in my office room. And what was the task that his father was going to give Swami? That was that he wanted to make Swami sleep alone in the his office room. A frightful proposition, Swami thought. Frightful means something that is not very delightful. Proposition, it means that proposal. Swami thought. So Swami thought that okay, now I am just stuck in a very big problem. He had always slept beside his granny in the passage, and we know that Swami was very close and near and dear to his grandmother, and he used to always sleep with his grandmother. Passage, it means that gallery. And any change in this arrangement kept him trembling and awake all night. So any change in his sleeping position, so it used to, if his sleeping place is changed, so that he can't sleep, okay, awake all night, and he used to get up at the all night. So he hoped at first that his father was only joking. So he thought that okay, my father is just kidding and he's just making a joke. Okay, he mumbled weakly and he has taken the this matter very lightly, and that's why he mumbled in a very low voice. He said yes, and tried to change the subject. Now he just wanted to divert his father from this topic. And what he said, that he said very loudly and with a great deal of enthusiasm. And the meaning of enthusiasm means that eagerness or great gist and zeal with more power. Okay, so we are going to admit even elders in our cricket club. And now he is changing the topic. Now he is introducing this. We are going to he started the topic of cricket in his school. Now he is saying that we are going to admit even elders in our cricket club hereafter. We are buying brand new bats and balls. Our captain has asked me to tell you, and this is what my captain has asked me to tell you, that so he just wanted some money regarding that. So let's see about it later. And his father was saying that okay, we'll talk about it later. Father cutting. So he interrupted Swami when and he now father is trying to change the topic, bringing back Swami to that topic about the courage and sleeping alone. You must sleep alone hereafter, and he has just commanded okay, from now onwards you will be sleeping alone. Swami realized that the matter had gone beyond his control. From a challenge, it had become a plain command. He knew his father's tenacity at such moments, and he was well aware of his father, that how firm he is, that if he makes a decision, it means that one has to follow that. Now that task has changed from challenge to now it was plain command. That command and challenge both are different. If challenge there, you have the option to accept it or not, and if something is commanded, it means that you have to do it anyhow. Next, from the first of the next month, I will sleep alone, father. But Swami was still trying to make excuses, and he was saying that okay, father, I will sleep, but from first of the next month. No, you must do it now. It is disgraceful sleeping beside granny or mother like a baby. And his father was again scolding him by saying that it is so disgraceful. Just you are so grown up and still sleeping with your grandmother and mother like a small baby. You are in the second form, and I don't at all like the way you are being brought up, and I'm just not liking the way you are being brought up, he said, and looked at his wife who was rocking the cradle. So after just saying that, he has given Swami's father has given a look to his wife who was rocking the cradle. It is that she was busy with that cradle. Why do you look at me while you say it? She asked. And mother asked that, why are you looking at me while you are just scolding Swami? I hardly know anything about the boy. Why the mother hardly knows anything about the boy? Because the boy was so close to his grandmother that he used to spend maximum of his time with her only. No, no, I don't mean you, father said. Now just father wanted to settle out the situation, and he was also, no, no, I don't mean to you, I don't mean to say you that. I'm not blaming you. So again mother is in her form, and she's saying that if you mean that your mother is spoiling him, tell her so, and don't look at me, she said, and turned away. And after giving him this advice, she turned away. Like, if you just, Swami's mother was saying to Swami's father that if you are of view that your mother is spoiling your child, then go and complain to your mother. Please don't look at me in that manner. Swami's father sat gloomily gazing at the newspaper on his lap. Swami rose silently and tiptoed. Tiptoed means walking on a tip of your toe. So, gloomily means sad. Okay, sad or without hope. And gazing means stare or look steadily at something without moving your eyes. So he was once again reading the newspaper, which was on his lap, and Swami rose silently. And Swami just rose from that that place, which you can find in the first page, that both of them were sitting and just talking about the newspaper incident, and tiptoed in with a very silent movement. He had just turned toward his bed, and that was in the passage or in the that gallery. Granny was sitting up in her bed and remarked, and while grandmother has seen this boy, she asked that, boy, are you already feeling sleepy? Don't you want a story? Now the mother just wanted to know that whether that boy wants to listen a story or not, because that was the in his everyday routine. Swami made quite wild gesticulation to silence his granny, but that good lady saw nothing. So Swami threw himself on his bed and pulled the blanket over his face. So after this, Swami made a wild gesticulation. Gesticulation means gestures of hand and face. So here always pronunciate this as gestures, not as gestures. Gestures, okay? So this gesticulation, it means that while gesticulation, it means that he just wanted to say something, convey some message by using his hand and facial expressions. So to silence his granny, but that good lady saw nothing, but she was busy in her own whatever the work she was doing. So Swami threw himself on his bed and pulled the blanket over his face. So now Swami just went to sleep and just pulled the blanket over his face. Now I will be showing you the picture of gesticulation in order to make someone silent. So like here you can see that his finger is on his mouth and he is just trying to, so by seeing this picture we can find that he is asking someone to keep quiet. Next, Granny said, don't cover your face. Are you really very sleepy? Because grandmother knows that he is not going to sleep so early, because every day when she used to tell him some story, then after that only he used to go to his sleep. Swami leaned over and whispered, and Swami just tried to say something by coming towards her. Whispered, it means a very low voice, telling something in a very low voice. Please, please keep quiet, Granny. Don't talk to me, and don't let anyone call me even if the house is on fire. And he was saying that, please, grandmother, keep quiet, and please don't talk to me. No one should know that I am awake. And even please don't call me even if the house is on fire, okay? So I don't want any kind of disturbance. So if I don't sleep at once, now, right now, if I'm not going to sleep, I shall perhaps die. And he was saying that, so after that I'm going to die. So he turned over, curled and snored under the blanket till he found his blanket pulled away. So he just went back to his place. Curled, it means that um, moving his legs towards his chin in that manner, just pulled the blanket and snored. It means that making noise while sleeping. Someone used to make noise with the nose, that is called as snoring, till he found his blanket pulled away. So till he found that someone has disturbed him, by pulling his blanket. Presently, father came and stood over him. At that time, who was there who pulled the blanket? It was his father, and he was standing next to him. Swami, get up, he said. He looked like an apparition in the semi darkness of the passage, and he was looking like a ghost. Why? Because already we know that it was semi dark, not completely dark. Something was visible, that's why it is called as semi darkness of the passage of that area, which was lit by a cone of light from the hall. And from where that light was coming? From the hall. A small ray of light was coming so that someone was visible. And in that semi darkness, if someone is standing, then definitely he or she is going to appear like a spirit or ghost. So similar was the case with Swami's father also. Swami stirred and groaned as if in sleep. And Swami stirred and groaned. Groaned, it means that cry or howl, okay? And stirred means tired. In a very tired voice, he just tried to say something, like he was showing that, yeah, okay, I am asleep, okay, I am sleeping, I'm not awake. Father said, get up, Swami. Granny pleaded. It means that Granny just asked him, why do you disturb him? To his son, grandmother asked to him, there are no scorpions, little fellow. Sleep on the bench if you like. And his father was saying that, no, there are no scorpions in my office. If you just want, you can sleep on the bench. Can I have a lamp burning in the room? So next demand that Swami made was that, can I have a lamp burning in the room? Because he was afraid of darkness. No, you must learn not to be afraid of darkness. It is only a question of habit. You must cultivate good habits. And his father was saying that, no, this is a bad habit, that you are afraid of darkness. You must be so courageous enough just to face, just to tackle any kind of situation, any situation. So this you have to generate a good habit. Will you at least leave the door open? So lastly he pleaded, Swami pleaded that, Father, please, can you just at least leave the door open? Alright, but promise you will not roll up your bed and go to your granny's side at night. But please promise me that you are not going to roll up your bed and just moving back to your granny's bed in the night. So if you do it, mind you, I will make you the laughing stock of your school. And his father just ordered him that if you're just going to threaten him, we can say that if you're just going to say this, then I will make you the laughing stock of your school. That I will just go and reveal this story to your friends that you are afraid of darkness. So just keep this thing in mind. Swami felt cut off from humanity. It means that Swami felt that there is no humanity in existence just because his father was only taking him. He was pained and angry. So he was in pain and at the same time he was very angry. He did not like the strain of cruelty. So he was not liking the that cruelty that was visible in his father's nature. He saw in his father's nature. He hated the newspaper. And why he hated the newspaper? Because for printing the tiger's story, that just the newspaper is the sole reason that he was going to sleep there, because there was tiger's story was there. He wished that the tiger hadn't spared. It means spared means hadn't left the boy, that he might have attacked that boy who didn't appear to be a boy after all but a monster. Why this boy whose article came in that newspaper was like a monster to Swami? Because he was like a monster because due to that boy only he was given the challenge of sleeping in the his father's office. So as the night advanced and the silence in the house deepened, his heart beat faster. He remembered all the stories of devils and ghosts he had heard in his life. Until now, whatever the stories that he had heard about the ghosts, devils, and spirits, that all came in his mind. The house deepened. The silence in the house deepened. It means that as soon as the night approached, what happens? There is no sound, and there is silence all over the house. So how often he had his chum? It means friend, Money. And what was the name of his friend? Money. Seen the devil in the banyan tree at his street end. And what was the first incident that came to his mind? About his a friend who has told him the story that there is a banyan tree near the his house and there lives a devil. And what about poor Munisami's father and his another friend Munisami's? What happened to his father? That while he was returning home late one night, at that time some spirit slapped him in his chest. And what happened? He started to spat. Instead, blood was blood started to come out of his mouth. So, and what about poor Munisami's father who spat out blood because the devil near the river's edge means at the side, slapped his cheek when he was returning home later one night, and so on and on. His thoughts continued, and so on and on. Many things about ghosts, spirits used to come to his mind. He was faint with fear, so now he was weak with the fear. It means off balance or woozy. Okay, these are the synonym of faint. A ray of light from the street strayed in and cast shadows on the wall. So what happens? You might have seen that when there is a power cut, at that time you lit a candle. Nowadays there is a it's the time of inverter, but the time when there was no inverter, with only lamps were there or candles were there. At that time, with the help of your hand, you we can create many objects on the wall, so that reflection used to just because of the reflection we are able to do this all things. Okay, so here also we can find that a ray of light was coming from the street straight in. It means that it entered that room and cast shadows on the wall, and so many shadows were appearing on the wall. Okay, like of the shadow of a tree, shadow of moving trees, so that will be more dangerous. So through the stillness all kinds of noises reached his ears, just because there was a no movement. So whatever the noise that was created outside, that all reached to his ears. The ticking of the clock at night, we can see that even the when clock used to move, the minute hand, the second hands, that was also audible to him. Rustle of trees, it means that moving of the dry leaves of the tree, or when wind was blowing, so that time whatever the sound was made, that all things. Snoring sounds, that someone is snoring, making noise with nose while sleeping, and some vague night insects humming. Vague means those who are not known. Okay, night insects are humming. It means that they are making various kind of sounds. He covered himself so completely that he could hardly breathe. And so, just because of fear, he had just covered himself hardly in such a manner that he could hardly breathe. Every moment he expected the devils to come up and carry him away, and every moment he was expecting someone to come and carry him away. So fully he was very much frightened with that situation. There was the instance of his old friend in the fourth class who suddenly disappeared and was said to. And again he was remembering one of the story of his old friend who was there in the fourth class, who suddenly disappeared and was said to have been carried off by a ghost to Siam or Nepal. So he was taken to the Siam, it means that present day Thailand or Nepal. So Swami hurriedly got up and spread his bed under the bench, and just now he had just spread the his bed under the bench and crouched there. It means that he just tried to adjust over there. It seemed to be a much safer place, more compact and reassuring. Reassuring, it means making him feel secure. More compact, it means that it was a small, so that hardly anyone can find him over there. He shut his eyes tight and encased himself in his blanket once again, and unknown to himself fell asleep, and in sleep was wrapped. And so just while these all thoughts were coming to his mind, so automatically he slept that day. Encased himself in his blanket, it means that totally secured himself in his blanket. Okay, himself fell asleep, and in sleep was racked. Racked means deeply troubled with nightmares. And how he was in trouble with the nightmares. And what were the dreams that he was coming through? first dream is that a tiger was chasing him, that a tiger was behind him. His feet stuck to the ground. At that time, what happened? He was not able to move. That somewhere he stuck. He desperately tried to escape, but his feet would not move, and he can't take out his feet. The tiger was at his back, and he could hear his claws scratch the ground. And the tiger was behind him, and he can just feel that something was scratching the ground. That his claws scratch, scratch, and then a light thud. So there was a sound, and there was a finally thud sound after the scratching. So Swami tried to open his eyes, but his eyelids would not open, and the nightmare continued. He just tried to come out of that dream, but he was unable to come out. Why? Just because he was in deep sleep and something was troubling him. It threatened to continue forever, and this started to continue forever. Swami groaned and disappeared. Disappear means in a pain, okay? Groan again means that I have already um, told you, it means that cry or howl. With a desperate effort, he opened his eyes. He put his hand out to feel his granny's presence at his side, and with fear, he started searching his grandmother, because every day he used to sleep with her only, as was his habit. So this was his habit, but he only touched the wooden leg of the bench, and his lonely state came back to him. And after that, he again realized that no, today he was alone. After after touching that leg of the bench, he sweated with fright. It means that sweat started to come out because he was very frightful of that situation. And now, what was this rustling? It means that what is this new sound? He moved to the edge of the bench and stared into the darkness. And he started looking into that dark place. Something was moving down. It means that something was coming. He lay gazing at it on horror, okay, and he was very horrified, and he started to look there. His end had come, and now he thought that okay, now I'm just going to die. He realized that the devil would presently pull him out of and tear him, and he thought that okay, now devil will come and he will be just pulling me out and tearing me into pieces. And so why should he wait? And now he's thinking that why is he waiting? So as it came nearer, he crawled out from under the bench, and now what he has done, as as soon as that spirit or that object came nearer to him, he just crawled out from under the bench, and he hugged it with all his might. With all the effort, he just hugged that spirit and used his teeth on it like a mortal weapon. And he just used his teeth, okay, just like a deadly weapon. With the help of his teeth, he has just bitten him. Ayo, something has bitten me, okay. So ayo, we have generally seen that that ayo is this word. Generally South Indian people used to say ayo, what is happening with me, or such kind of thing. So why this is used here? Because R.K.Narayan, he was born in Mysore, and there also people, they used to use such kind of word. So this who was this who was saying that ayo, something has bitten me? That was thief. Went forth and agonized. Went forth, it means that just moved forward after taking his leg. Thundering cry, and was followed by a heavy trembling and falling amidst furniture. So just thundering cry. There was a cry. He started crying. He outburst into the cry and was followed by a heavy trembling. He was with a very difficulty. He fell amidst. It means that in between the furniture that were kept there. So in a moment, father, cook, and a servant came in carrying light. So within no time, that father, cook, and the servant, this all three, they just came inside, and they were carrying a light, and all three of them fell on the burglar, who lay amidst the furniture with a bleeding ankle. And all these three attacked him, who was all the burglar means that thief who was already bleeding, okay, and amidst in between the furniture, because he was laying in between the furniture. Just because of the pain, it was very difficult for him to run away. So that's why he was laying down over there, and his ankle was bleeding. Why? Because Swami, just with the help of his mortal teeth, that is compared here as a weapon, You can find here that Swami is hugging his leg, and after that he has just completed whatever he wanted to do. Now, so in next scene, congratulations were showered on Swami next day. His classmates looked at him with respect, and now he is a hero. And his teacher patted his back. It means that he has just his teacher has said him that well done Swami, like this all this. The headmaster said that he was a true scout. Scout means it means that a scout and guide, you might have heard about this. A reference to the Boy Scouts which trains young people in practical skills and survival tactics. So Swami had bitten into the flesh of one of the most notorious housebreakers of the district, and this thief was a very dangerous one. Notorious, it means that very naughty, and housebreakers. He used to break the house and steal many things. And the police were grateful to him for it. And police was very grateful to Swami that he helped the policeman to catch that man. The inspector said, "Why don't you join the police when you are grown up?" So there is a proposal from the police that you can join a police force. Swami said, for the sake of politeness. As Swami, just for making them happy, he said, "Certainly yes." Though he had quite made up his mind to be an engine driver, a railway guard, or a bus conductor later in life. But his aim was to be a engine driver or a railway guard or a bus conductor in his life. When he returned home from the club that night, father asked, "Where is the boy?" "He is asleep." So when he returned home from the club that night, what happened? Father asked, "Where is the boy?" So father was asking that, "Where is the boy?" "He is asleep." Already, again father is saying that already he is asleep. Now, um, Swami's mother is replying, "He didn't have a wink of sleep the whole of last night." Wink means just a closing your eyes very fastly, okay? So, wink of sleep the whole of last night, said his mother. "Where is he sleeping?" Now, again, father is questioning that, "Where is he now?" "In his usual place," mother said casually. So, in a very casual manner, Swami's mother replied that, "In his usual place." He went to bed at 7:30, and at 7:30 only he went to bed. Sleeping beside his granny again. Father again, he was saying that, okay, still he's sleeping beside his granny. No wonder he wanted to be asleep before I could return home. Clever boy. And now his father is saying that, okay, the boy is very clever. So before I return back to home, he already went to sleep. Mother lost her temper, and now the mother has lost her temper, and now she started to scold. "You let him sleep where he likes. You need not risk his life again, and please don't risk my son's life again and again." Father mumbled as he went into change. And mumbled, it means in a very low voice. "All right, mollycoddle and spoil him as much as you like. Only don't blame me afterwards." And he was saying, "Okay, whatever you want to do. Um, if you want him to get spoiled, then just do it." Mollycoddle, it means that be very kind and protective. Okay, Swami following the whole conversation from under the blanket. So at that time, Swami was not sleeping; he was awake, and he was listening the whole conversation from the under the blanket. Felt tremendously relieved to hear that his father was giving him up, and he was so happy that his father has finally given his now no more he is going to bother him. Okay, so here that his father was giving him up. So here this was the whole story. It's a very nice story by R.K.Narayan. So where you can just find that how the fate changed just a boy who was very coward, or we can say that he was not that much courageous, how he suddenly became a hero. Okay, so this is the whole story, and here it is. Here downside you can find that about R.K. Narayan. He was best known for the works set in the fictional South Indian town Malgudi. So Malgudi, as I already told you, that Malgudi is not a actual place; it's a fictional town. Not that that doesn't that is not here in reality. Okay, he is one of the leading figures of early Indian literature in English. So he is a very leading figure in our Indian English literature. So that's all, and that's all for today. Have a good day. are the characters that we assign this also. This is Swami, this is father, mother, grandmother, his first friend, second friend, thief. So his Rajan's name is given something else in this book. So that we have to go with that, and this is the full. Highly difficult words. Mortal means causing death. Next is coward, a person who is lacking in the courage to do or endure dangerous or unpleasant things. Tenacity means firmness. Tiptoe means walking lightly on toes. Gesticulation, gestures of hand and face. Apparition, it means spirit or ghost. Chum means friend. Ragged, it means deeply troubled. Amidst, being surrounded by something that amidst the furniture. Burglar, it means housebreaker or robber or thief. Nightmare, a frightening or unpleasant dream. Mollycoddle, this is the very last word we came across. It means that be very kind and protective. So thank you.